Welcome back to the Gamer Muscle channel, fans, subscribers, and the occasional person that's got lost on the internet. Now, the Project Cars 2 hype train is definitely out of control. It's going down a hill, and there's currently a marketing manager shoveling spades of coal into the engine to make sure it builds up speed, potentially hitting 88 miles per hour and ending up in the future. The real question is, though, what does Project Cars 2 need to do different from Project Cars 1 for us to justify picking up a ticket for the hype train, as opposed to just letting the hype train rush through the platform and derail itself? Yes, this video is going to be composed of whingy complaints about Project Cars 1 in the hopes that the same won't be the case with Project Cars 2. Now, the first complaint of Project Cars 1 has to be that the artificial intelligence in the game did a really good job of simulating a bunch of drunk people that had just left a stag do, decided to get in very expensive vehicles, and then attempt to race you on a track. Now, that can be quite exciting, and as I say, it did a very good job of simulating that specific nature of drunk driving. But when it comes to actually playing through a single player game and sort of investing time into that single player game and really enjoying a single player game, it's not fun, and it was possibly, in my opinion, the worst part of Project Cars 1, given that there was a heavy focus on the single player with that title. My hope, of course, would be then that Project Cars 2 AI is at least a little bit sober. Now, they don't have to be the best artificial intelligence. For Project Cars 2 to be really enjoyable, even if the AI stays a little bit dense, all I'd like is AI that doesn't just try and murder you on tight, slow corners, an AI that maybe is a little bit more chilled out. The second complaint of Project Cars 1, which probably should have been the first complaint, is the handling of the vehicles. Now, there were some cars in Project Cars 1 that I personally found really enjoyable. The Aerial Atom, for example, seemed to actually exhibit most of the character that you'd generally expect from real-world cars, in that you can drive it sensibly, you can slide it around like a buffoon, and it also worked in the different weather conditions in Project Cars 1 quite nicely. But most of the cars, and on average most of the handling in Project Cars 1, pretty much fell into the category of, I've got tons of grip, this is really easy, oh no, now I've got no grip and I don't really have much control, I'll just let the car correct itself almost, and then now I've got grip again and we're back in the groove of not really having to concentrate so much whilst driving. So my hope with Project Cars 2 is that the new tyre mod that they've been working on, and they have been hyping it, and I've heard good things about it behind the scenes, but the new tyre model and other aspects of the physics, I hope, produce a more balanced, sort of pliable consistency between all the vehicles. So whether it's a Formula car or a complete shitbox banger, I'd like to see that general, what I consider, maybe I'm wrong, but what I consider to be realistic, tyres on tarmac behaviour, in that you have a little bit of slip you can play with, there's a little bit of lead in, it's communicated through the force feedback, don't worry, that'll be the next point where we're complaining, but that ply that you expect from rubber on tarmac, I hope that will be applicable to all the cars in Project Cars 2, and sure, the Formula cars should be a lot tighter, they should bite you in the arse, they should be a lot less forgiving and not have that much playable slip angle to them. Same with go-karts, and then maybe you'd have like the shitbox cars, or some of the older vehicles will have monstrous slip angles that are possible, and that would be the way you approach them. But I'd just like to see that general consistency of cars actually feeling as if they've got rubber tyres on tarmac in Project Cars 2. If that can be done, I'll be a very happy hype train ticket buyer indeed. I warned you, the third complaint of Project Cars 1, the force feedback. Now, the force feedback in Project Cars 1, on occasion, we'll be generous, on occasion you could really fiddle with it. There were more dials than a nuclear reactor. I'm not sure what happened there. We blame WMD process for that. But you could fiddle with it. You could sometimes get it to be reasonable. And as I say, again, the Aerial Atom, for some reason, it was a car that seemed to work well in that game. You could get a force feedback to communicate the general going on of the vehicle, but it just wasn't consistent from car to car, and you would just spend so long fiddling to try and get it to be right, or, in my opinion, what I felt was right. You know, of course, I'm I'm the only person that matters, so, you know, that's what's important. I know some people actually like the force feedback in Project Cars 1, but I think the general consensus, and of course my view, which is the only correct view, was that the force feedback was pretty pants on the grand scheme of things. So I really hope with Project Cars 2, they not only, make choosing force feedback settings more simple. I mean, if you look at driving simulators like Assetto Corsa, for example, which I think they really nailed the force feedback, there's only 3 or 4 options with the sliders. You've got the basic force feedback strength, and then you've got things like road effect, a slip effect, and you've got an exaggerate slip effect, which allows you to actually know what the car's doing through the force feedback. Regardless of what's going on in the physics engine, you can feel things like understeer very clearly through the force feedback to know that you're over driving. You've got this self-aligning very clearly conveyed, so you've got the back of the car essentially automatically correcting itself or telling you what the back of the car wants to do, so when you do get loose, you know exactly what's going on. All these things, with some cars in Project Cars 1, did operate correctly, but it really was hit or miss, and lots of the cars in Project Cars 1 just really felt awful to drive through the force feedback. I'd absolutely love for it to be the case that Project Cars 2, you can boot it up. Sure, there's a little bit of fiddling with the force feedback, maybe some car-specific force feedback settings, but for the most part, 10 minutes of force feedback fiddling, and you're done, and you can enjoy the driving and feel exactly what the car's telling you, and then concentrate on just getting immersed in the game. That would be good like a well-made cup of tea. So for me, if those 3 main things are addressed, I'm off straight away to the Hype Train ticket booth, because let's face it, Project Cars 2, in many ways like Project Cars 1, is an extremely ambitious project. I just use the word project 500 times. The car licenses, the track licenses, the graphics, the dynamic lighting, the dynamic weather, let's say the word dynamic, everybody likes stuff that's dynamic. The actual overall product that they're trying to put out there is a pretty spectacular piece of programming and artwork. It's just the case that there's a couple of people out there, such as myself, that are really sad and really do need those 3 initial points to be executed to a standard at least on a par with the other titles on the market on the simulation side, to then enjoy the other components. Otherwise, I might as well just watch a film. So let's hope, fingers crossed, it looks good from what we've seen, but there's no real way to know until we actually play it. So will I be getting a Hype Train ticket at the moment? I'm not quite sure. I think I'm just going to ride my horse next to the Hype Train with the potential of veering off to the side if it looks like it's about to derail. But we'll be ready to jump on when it gets closer to release, once we've had more information of the actual underbelly of the beast. But I hope this video was interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to like us. Start an argument in the comment section about tyre models. That normally goes down well. I will see you in the next video we do. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.